the charts kind of guy. And the thing is for 400 years, now imagine, for 400 years, this entire nation of people had been waiting to hear from God. There's been nobody that has stepped up to speak about God. There were no preachers in the land. There were no prophets, no teachers at all. So they've been waiting to hear back from God. And all of a sudden, here comes this guy named John the Baptist. And he is speaking on behalf for God. And people all around are coming and listening to this guy talk. And what he's talking about is, listen, hey, the person that we've been waiting for 1,000 years, the person that we've been waiting for, he's here, he's coming. And that was John the Baptist's whole purpose, was to let people know, get ready. The guy we've been waiting on, Jesus, the Messiah, he's coming. And he's really close to me. Like, he's right behind me. He's coming and he's on his way. And what's crazy is Jesus shows up on the scene and he goes and he meets John. And the first thing that Jesus does before he begins like his earthly ministry is he goes to John. John was taking people into the river and he was baptizing people in the river. Because people realized, like, man, my life is messed up. I need to get myself right with God. So they were baptizing themselves to kind of to say, listen, I'm done with my old life. I'm done living how I used to live. And people were coming to John for that thing. But then here comes Jesus. Perfect and pure. He's never sinned. He's never committed any wrong whatsoever. And he comes to John, and John tells him, listen, he's like, you need to baptize me because I'm messed up. I'm not clean. I'm not perfect. And Jesus says, no, I'm going to be the example for everybody else who comes after me. Jesus goes underneath the water. It says that in that moment that the heavens opened up, that the Holy Spirit came down and rested upon Jesus. And there was a voice that came from heaven that said, this is my son, who I love and who I'm pleased with. And John saw all of this take place. And he had like this big group of followers that as soon as Jesus showed up on the scene, everybody left John and started following Jesus. So he had this whole group of all these people that were close to him that all of a sudden left him because now Jesus was on the scene. He'd essentially fulfilled his job and done what he was supposed to do. But John wasn't done telling people how to fix themselves and how to live their life. There was a king at the time his name was Herod. Now this dude, he was not a good king.
Alex Gates to the office. Alex Gates.
Alex Gates, better get to that office. So here's the deal. King Herod was not a good king. He was not a good leader of the people. In fact, he was so messed up that he married his sister. Yeah, it's messed up, okay? It's messed up. Now listen. Be quiet for just a second. So, John the Baptist sees the things that he did, and he tells Herod, it is not lawful for you to do what you did. You should be ashamed. You're a king. You're a leader of the people. You shouldn't do this stuff. And here's what happened. He throws John into prison. And John's sitting there waiting, and he hears about all this crazy stuff that Jesus is doing out there while he's locked up in prison. And then he begins to doubt. You remember, have you ever been in a place where you doubted God? Have you ever been in a place where you're just like, God, I just don't know if you're going to come through and you're going to help me out on this one? John was in that place. He's hearing about all the amazing things. Dead people are being raised. People who are blind are receiving their sight. People who are sick are being healed. But then he begins to wonder, but I'm not seeing anything good happening in my situation. Is this the guy that we've really been waiting on? Because I'm not seeing the good things that I want to see in my life. So he gets a couple of his guys to go and find Jesus to ask him this question. Are you really the one that we've been waiting on, or should we be expecting somebody else? Because I've already told everybody it was you. I've told everybody and they left me to follow you. But I feel so broken and I feel so alone in the situation and I'm hurting so bad in this situation. Are you really the one who's supposed to heal all of my brokenness? Are you really the one that I can trust? And so Jesus was going around and doing his thing, and those guys come to him and ask that question. He said this, hey guys, I want you to go back and I want you to tell John, the poor hear the good news about me, the blind receive their sight, the dead are being raised, the sick are being healed. But then he says this, and anyone who is not offended by me is greatly blessed. So from that moment, those guys leave and they go back to John. But there he is. He's sitting there in prison